I was glaring at my phone as if it were a ticking bomb. My brother Ben had just texted me the location of some upscale restaurant in downtown Chicago, and I was moments away from inventing a severe case of food poisoning to escape the entire ordeal. It was 6:15 on a Friday evening, leaving me a scant 30 minutes to meet a total stranger for a blind date Ben had been relentlessly promoting for the last 3 months. He was impossible to ignore. Every family meal, every phone conversation, every text thread inevitably looped back to his insistence that I needed to re-enter the dating world. My previous relationship had imploded 2 years prior, a catastrophe that left me quite content with my solitary life, thank you. But Ben refused to see it that way. He had trapped me at our parents' house a couple of weeks back, physically blocking the exit until I caved and agreed to his scheme. He swore she was my perfect match, that our interests aligned, that she was driven, intelligent, and worked in the business sector. I reminded him that working in business described a significant portion of Chicago's population, but he dismissed my point as if I were just being difficult. Compounding the situation, I had no clue who this woman was. Ben wouldn't tell me her last name or show me a photo, only revealing her first name was Clara. He claimed pictures spoiled the spontaneity of a first encounter, a notion I found utterly ridiculous, but he wouldn't budge. So there I was, preparing to meet a complete enigma based solely on my brother's questionable matchmaking skills and the name Clara. I caught my reflection in the mirror and questioned my life choices. My tie felt like a noose, my shoes pinched. The entire situation felt fundamentally wrong. Still, I knew that bailing now would mean Ben would never let me forget it. My mother would get involved, which was a far worse fate. She possessed a look of quiet disappointment that could make you feel as though you had single-handedly ruined her existence. I snatched my keys and walked out. Navigating the Chicago traffic, my mind cycled through every potential disaster. What if she was dull? What if we had zero common ground? What if Ben had completely misunderstood the kind of person I could actually connect with? His track record with setups was abysmal. He'd tried to match our cousin with someone last year, and they spent the entire meal bickering over whether Chicago deep dish truly qualified as pizza. It was excruciating to witness. Giordano's was the type of establishment that prompted a mental check of your bank balance before entry. Soft lighting, linen napkins, and waiters in formal attire. I felt like an imposter the moment I stepped inside. The hostess offered a smile that suggested she'd seen countless nervous men like me. I explained I was meeting someone. She glanced at her list, gave a nod, and guided me through the dining room to a corner booth by the windows, table 8. She informed me my date hadn't arrived, which granted me a few minutes to have a silent panic attack while feigning interest in the menu. I positioned myself to face the entrance, wanting a preemptive look at this Clara. Ben had provided only 2 descriptive clues: light brown hair and likely dressed in professional attire. That described practically everyone. At 6:53, a woman entered the restaurant, and a chill washed over me. Not the chill of anxiety, but the cold dread of an impossible situation unfolding. The woman was Clara Vance, my boss. Not my immediate supervisor, but the CEO of the entire corporation where I was employed. The woman who commanded every major meeting I'd ever attended, reviewed my performance, approved departmental budgets, and made choices impacting hundreds of us. She wore a deep red dress I'd never seen at the office, her hair styled differently from her usual corporate look, but it was unmistakably her. There was no mistaking Clara Vance. My initial reaction was utter bewilderment. What was she doing here? This place was miles from our office, and it was a Friday night. Perhaps it was a business dinner, a bizarre coincidence, and she would walk right past me to another table. But then I saw her speak to the hostess, who consulted her list and pointed directly to my corner, to table 8, to me. My second impulse was to flee. I began to rise, formulating an excuse about being at the wrong place or on the wrong date. But it was too late. Clara was already approaching, and as her gaze met mine, I saw her expression shift from composed to puzzled, then to something akin to sheer horror. She halted beside the table, staring at me. I stared back. The silence stretched for at least 5 seconds, which felt like an eternity. Finally, she broke it. "What are you doing here?" Her tone had the sharp edge it carried at work whenever a presentation went off script. I awkwardly half stood, feeling that sitting was even more inappropriate. "I'm meeting someone," I managed. "I think you might be at the wrong table. This is table 8. I gestured to the small number on the table as if she were incapable of reading. Clara took out her phone, glanced at it, and then back at me. "No, this is definitely table 8. I'm meeting someone as well. My friend Sophie arranged it." She showed me her screen, where a text clearly stated, "Table 8 at Girardano's at 7 o'clock. I pulled out my own phone to check Ben's message. Table 8 at Girardano's at 7 o'clock. We both just stood there, staring at our devices as a dreadful realization began to dawn. "Wait," Clara said slowly, her face flushing. "Who are you meeting?" My mouth felt like sandpaper. "Someone named Clara. My brother set it up. He only gave me a first name." I watched her expression morph from confused to profoundly mortified. "I'm meeting someone named—" She paused, taking a breath. "Someone named Leo. My friend Sophie set it up. She said he works in operations." We just stood there as the terrible puzzle pieces clicked into place. I said, "Your friend is Sophie Grant?" Clara nodded. "Your brother is Ben Maxwell." I nodded. Then, in perfect unison, we both said, "You have got to be kidding me." Clara collapsed into the chair opposite me, burying her face in her hand. I sat back down, my legs suddenly feeling unsteady. For a solid 30 seconds, we said nothing. What can you possibly say upon realizing you've been set up on a blind date with your company's CEO, the woman who holds the power to fire you? The woman you've been meticulously professional around for 6 months because she is formidable, successful, and in a completely different league. A waiter appeared, looking cheerful and oblivious to the crisis unfolding at our table. "Can I get you folks started with some drinks?" I blurted. "Beer, whatever you have on tap, the largest size." Clara said, "Red wine, also the largest." The waiter sensed the tension and vanished quickly. Clara looked up, her cheeks still crimson. "I cannot believe this. Ben knows where I work." A defensive feeling rose in me. Sophie knows where I work too. Why wouldn't she have told you? Clara's eyes narrowed slightly. "You've complained about me at work, haven't you?" My face grew hot. "What? No, not